Good afternoon, Chairperson. It's my pleasure to be here today. I want to express to you first off that the opportunity to lead this fine school is a responsibility I take on with great seriousness. It's very clear throughout the school there and all the visible successes that the previous head was committed to excellence, and my plan is to continue with this tradition, this long-standing tradition of great leadership and success. It is important to recognize, however, that with changing faces comes change, and for many of our board members, including myself, this will be our first year on the board. I invite you to see this as not a perfunctory exercise, but as an opportunity to strategically explore new approaches. I hope that in upcoming years we can draw upon the experiences and the voices of all of our board members, old and new, and turn this transition into a process of personal growth for each of us while we work towards forming a truly effective governing body. A governing body that strives to provide the best possible education to our students, both now and in the long term. This year, with so many new members on our board, including myself, it's more important than ever to understand that you can't simply throw a bunch of individuals together, albeit intelligent and capable ones, into a new situation and expect the best results. The foundation of a committed, knowledgeable, and effective board is orientation and education. And in one way or another, we're going to have to plan for this year in order to be successful. That's why we're here today. That's why I'm presenting to you some of the strategies that I believe will ensure this board's successful in the face of what is sure to be an important year with reaccreditation. We need to take the time to develop a thorough, easy-to-use manual immediately and provide our new board members with effective orientation. We should look to the old board members to support us with this and ask them to share their knowledge and experiences from previous years while assisting in the documentation process. However, it will require a very collaborative effort from everyone over the next couple months before the summer to establish a clearer, more concrete representation of current policies. In the initial draft of this manual, it will be important to keep each item brief. Details or material can be added or removed later, but we need to include the essential components such as a list of current and past board members and their responsibilities, committee and task force descriptions, historical context, school mission, vision, and bylaws, all strategic and current operating plans, minutes from previous board meetings, any policies pertaining to the board, insurance policies, financial and fundraising statements, annual budgets, staff listings, administrative or team structures, annual calendars, websites, and promotional material. Traditionally, our board has governed with a very high degree of hands-on involvement in the day-to-day management of the school. Current research, however, and best practices suggest that the work of the board should move away from micromanagerial focuses and towards strategic governance, where the board is not to prescribe specific school practices, but rather it's responsible for clearly outlining expectations, objectives, limitations for practices through policy. Under this type of framework for strategic governance, directors are given the responsibility of implementing board objectives. Directors manage how or by what means these objectives are achieved. They are to deal with the day-to-day individual issues related to performance. And this way, the board is then free to govern macro issues through policy creation, deciding what to do and to what end, and dealing with longer-term planning. The board should be concerned about doing the right things, while the director is to ensure that they are done right. If we can learn this, and we can learn to work together in this type of strategic manner, I'm certain the school will benefit from it. Let me give you a more specific example. Walking around the campus these past few days, I've already heard several informal comments about school uniforms, curriculum, ICT, improving examination results, extracurricular activities. These types of day-to-day concerns fall within my domain as head of school. there's no need to be wasting valuable board meeting time debating suitable options or strategies to these items. I would have to spend the time prior to the board meeting designing strategies that are aligned with board policy. For the meetings, I would provide an overview of the situation, of course, and my prescribed strategies. At which point, the board could provide feedback or alternate strategies, but when clear board policies are in place, I will be able to take on the bulk of the workload and promote consistent solutions. As part of developing a more strategic approach to governance, the board must also consider promoting positive communication between its board members and increasing their ability to work together effectively. I suggest that this is something we could do by organizing a retreat for the board the last week of summer holidays. The various components planned for the retreat, such as workshops, working on case studies together, or even social time, will expedite the period of instability that invariably comes when a team's composition changes. We can also avoid the unwanted development of negative viewpoints or relationships that could arise if this transition was left to its own devices. To make the retreat as beneficial as possible, we should try to fulfill the following 3 objectives. With so many new board members, we must start this retreat by developing strong working relationships and learning how to communicate effectively with each other. We should also include leadership training and workshops that specifically provide board members with skills to improve their ability in responding strategically to the needs of the school. Since there is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all governance model or framework that can be applied or imported to all organizations successfully, we should begin this process by contracting a professional consultant. This person will help us build our governance framework around good governance practices. This person will participate in our retreat by making sure that our strategies and approaches are well suited to specific factors such as school size, culture, people, traditions, and history. I would like to end this retreat by revisiting our recently produced initial board policy manual during a constructive brainstorming session designed to evaluate the continued viability of each of the policies and long-term goals outlined in the initial version of this manual. It's a process that may require revising, updating, and possibly rewriting policies so that they steer our school towards a strategic approach and avoid micromanaging. But by the end of the summer retreat, the board policy manual will be ready to publish and become our board's strategy book. Once a clear framework for governance has been established and the school year has begun, the reaccreditation process must become our #1 priority. The board can help the school prepare for the reaccreditation process by establishing clear performance indicators that address the essential components of reaccreditation. Thanks to his experience, the previous head of school would have been more comfortable with the accreditation process and aware of the areas in which the school fell short of or exceeded expectations. Establishing performance indicators for the upcoming school year that provide clear and pre-established expectations regarding areas under review will help me, along with other administrators and staff, focus our efforts regardless of our previous experience. Establishing performance indicators will allow the board to provide timely input and guidance. And of course, based on these performance indicators, we could develop an appraisal system for the head of school. Well, that almost covers everything. The only thing left to do would be to decide on procedures for me to provide regular updates on school matters, including financial, student achievement, property, enrollment, etc. to the board each month. Since we all have phones, tablets, or laptops, I was thinking of preparing my reports each month using Excel or Word and emailing them to each board member several days before the next board meeting. For longer reports, it would be easy for me to create or attach shorter summary sheets, and this would help board members grasp the key issues more quickly. I could also go into more detail upon request. Well, thank you very much, Chairperson, for your sustained attention. I hope I did an effective job of illustrating the tremendous opportunity we have to redefine our board's commitment to strategic leadership right now with this transition. Instead of just going through the motions, I invite you and the board to consider my proposal, which focuses on the development of an effective board through orientation and education, in order to more effectively establish and achieve our school's short and long-term goals, such as the imminent re-accreditation process.